What's going on, guys? It's Tron Ninja here, coming at you with a guide on the bunker business from the gun running update. In this video, we're going to be covering the earnings, the overall amount of money that you're going to be spending on this business, and how effective and how really much worth it is this business in 2023. But firstly, before the video begins, if you guys could give me a like, subscribe, ring the bell, and also remember to check the top part of the screen so you don't miss out on past guides like the biker guide that I made before this one, so then you don't miss out on previous information. Special thanks to, once again, Green Ninja King and the Prime Simon on YouTube for helping me record all of these missions and gameplay in the video. This video took a super long time to make, so if you could go show them some love at their channels and their other social media, that would be much appreciated. But just before we start crunching the math and explaining all the expenses and how much money you're going to be making with this business, I need to set some ground rules. Number one, we're not going to be talking about research because I feel like it is a completely separate thing, and most of it, you're just going to be spending money on it. And if I was to include research in this video, the amount of expenses would be exponential, because I can already tell you right now the expenses are already a lot, and if I was to include it, it would already add a lot more money. I will also not be including the purchase of the Mobile Operations Center or any of the missions involved with the Mobile Operations Center, because that is strictly something else, and I feel as if those missions are just normal contact missions, but you require 2 players to play them, so they're not actually money efficient or time efficient for making money anyways. And I will also not be covering any of the vehicles as well. So all of that will be coming in part 2 for the bunker, called Is Research Worth It in 2023? So if you want to know all that information, check out part 2, that will be coming soon. Quickly before we start, we're going to give you some equipment recommendations, so then this can help you do your bunker stuff a lot more quicker. This is all stuff that is not needed in order to do the business. This is completely optional, and all of these expenses and these weapons and equipments are going to be completely optional. We're not going to be showing the prices for them inside of the charts either. This is up to you if you want them, because all of this equipment makes doing this business a lot easier and gives you less hassle to deal with later on. The first equipment upgrade is the Terabyte. This allows you to do the resupply missions from this singular place. The second recommendation is the Oppressor Mark II to allow you to fly across the map. The third recommendation is the Oppressor Mark I, again, to allow you to fly across the map easier. This one does not have a 5-minute cooldown that you have to wait. Fourth recommendation is the Master Control Terminal. This allows you to control all of your businesses from one singular location and start all missions or buy supplies for all businesses here. And the fifth recommendation is the Armor Kuruma. This allows you to do a lot of missions in the bunker very easily, and it's extremely helpful for when you're dealing with raid missions, so I highly recommend getting this vehicle. It's also very cheap. First things first, you're going to need a bunker. I recommend any of the 3 bunkers that I'm showcasing on screen right now. Do note though, all of these optional upgrades are really not worth it if you're trying to invest into this business immediately. The only one that you actually need is probably the shooting range, but like the gun locker is useless because if you get a mobile operation center, you get that for free, and all that other stuff is purely cosmetics, so don't waste your money on this stuff if you want to try and save as much money as possible. Another thing, do not get the Paleto Forest bunker in Paleto Bay. You will regret it in the long run because it is cheaper. However, you have to remember what location it's in, and remember, because a lot of people do the far sale in these passive businesses, you're going to be going to Los Santos, which means your cell missions are going to take twice as longer than any other bunker cell missions. So again, do not buy the Paleto Forest bunker, please. You will regret it in the long run if you do purchase it. The only cosmetic upgrades that are worth putting on the bunker are personal quarters and shooting range, but just do know shooting range costs a lot of money. All bunker supply missions and cell missions can be completed in invite-only sessions, public sessions, crew closed sessions and crew sessions, and friend closed sessions. First things first, when you get to your bunker, you're going to have a short cutscene with Agent 14 introducing to you to all the business things that you're going to be doing in the bunker. Next, you're going to have to go to the computer, same with the MC businesses, and then you're going to have to do a setup mission to grab a Dune loader full of supplies. Once you get the Dune loader back to the bunker, then your staff can start producing weapons. But there's one more thing that you can change, and considering that we're not covering research, you're going to move them to manufacturing, and that is the staff. You can either move your staff to both research and manufacturing weapons, or you can have them either doing research or manufacturing weapons. You're going to want to change it to manufacturing 100%, not research or both, because of the fact that we're going to be focusing on trying to get you as much money so you can break even with this business. Now we're going to be talking about the separate 3 business upgrades. These are the same upgrades from the biker update, except this time they're a little bit more expensive and they're a little bit different. This time, there is the staff upgrade. This one allows you to have supplies lasting longer, and it improves the value of your product. The equipment upgrade does the exact same thing, and the security upgrade allows you to prevent getting raids, but this one, unlike in my biker video where I said it was worth getting, this one is not worth getting, because as I'm going to explain right now, bunker raid missions are extremely uncommon, and for that $300,000, it's simply not worth it to spend on it immediately, unless if you plan on selling this bunker full a lot after breaking even. So don't even bother spending money on the security upgrade immediately. It's just not worth it. The amount of times that I've gone raided is only I think 4-5 times. Getting raided with or without it is extremely rare, and I just don't see any reason for you to actually purchase it. But you should purchase the other 2 just so then you can actually start getting product much faster in the bunker. Especially because without these upgrades, as I'm about to show in a few seconds here, without the upgrades, the bunker produces extremely slow. Also, one more thing on the raids topic. Because the raid missions are so goddamn rare on bunker, I was actually not able to get any of the missions recorded. So if that doesn't tell you right there that security upgrade is not worth it because I could barely get any of the raid missions, I don't know what will. So again, don't spend your money on it. Now we're going to be talking about the expenses and all the money that you just spent on the bunker, so you have a grasp and idea of what you just spent. Also, we're also going to make the example of if you bought the most expensive bunker and you bought all optional upgrades and all the business upgrades in one go. So then you can get more of a grasp if you did decide to do that. If you didn't do the most expensive bunker or you didn't do certain upgrades, you can do your own calculations. But generally, this is what the max payout you would be paying if you decided to pay for everything right up. And now if we look at the expenses chart with the most expensive bunker at $2.375 million, along with all the optional upgrades, you're going to be paying up to $6.1745 million to be able to buy everything on this chart, including the business upgrades and the optional stuff. So you're going to be at least spending your almost $6.2 million. So keep this in mind, that you're going to be spending a lot of money if you want all of the upgrades and you want all the beneficial business upgrades. Now we're going to be delving deep into all the supply missions and explain why you should be buying supplies instead of stealing it, because this is only one business, and generally you'll actually make a lot more money if you just buy supplies overall, providing you have the upgrades, of course. There are only 4 supply missions that will not be in the showcase. The first one is the railgun supply mission. This one was probably one of the hardest ones to get. The second one was the mineshaft one. This one we could not get either. Or the sewer one. It sometimes takes you to the sewer. Then the third one was the ruiner. This is by far the hardest one to get, probably because of the vehicle that it gives you. It gives you a fully loaded ruiner that you can use to get the cops on you. And then the final one is the 4 helicopter multi-drop mission. This one we could not get as well. These are the only missions that we were not able to record. Also, like I said in my biker video, if it says multi-drop, it means it's a one singular bag of product that you have to take back to the bunker. And if it says vehicle, there are multiple vehicles that you have to take back to the bunker that give you 2 bars of supplies for each vehicle delivered. This first mission will require you to go to a Meriwether convoy, ambush the convoy, and steal either an insurgent civvy or an APC with your supplies in it. Keep in mind that this mission can be extremely annoying, especially if you have the APC spawn, because not only will you have the APC shoot at you if you shoot at it far away, but as you can see, the Valkyrie also will shoot at you with your cannons. So definitely think about a plan accordingly and actually do this pretty strategically, because otherwise you're going to get bombarded by the Valkyrie and then bring the supplies back to the bunker. This next mission is one of the newer missions from the Criminal Enterprises DLC. This mission requires you to go to a specific warehouse with a bunch of weapons and shipments, go inside, hack the terminal to find the bombushka that you have to hack, and then go over to the bombushka, hack it, and then it'll reveal the location of your supplies. Then just bring it back to the bunker. This next supply mission requires you to go around the map and destroy multiple supply trucks with your supplies in it, similar to the biker supply mission from the Bikers update. This one allows you to grab multiple different drops from all the trucks. If you're solo, it'll only be in one of them, but if you have 4 players, you should be able to get 4 from all of the 5 trucks. One of them will be a dummy. This next mission will require you to steal a technical pickup custom holding your supplies. You just simply go over to the location, kill all the enemies, and then steal the technical. As you're about to see in the gameplay, it actually has an anti-aircraft trailer hitch, so if one of you or your friends has an anti-aircraft trailer, instead of using the machine gun on it, you can actually just use the trailer instead. If you're solo, just simply park the truck once it spawns and kill all the enemies, or you can just simply grab a bombushka if you have a custom bombushka without the weapon upgrades, and then put it in the back and fly it back to the bunker. In this mission, you will be required to either go to the military base or the international airport to be able to go to a cargo plane with military personnel. Inside the cargo plane, there will be a ballistic equipment vest or a juggernaut suit inside with a minigun. You have to bring the ballistic equipment back to the bunker on a flatbed, or if you have a wastelander, you can just hitch the person wearing the armor on the back of that as well and take it back to the bunker. In this mission, you just simply have to reach a van with your supplies in it and then bring it back to the bunker. Do note, though, that sometimes when you get inside the van, you'll either get cops or enemies to chase after you, or nothing. And also, another tip, you can actually pick up these vans with a cargo bob, one of the rare few vehicles in businesses that can be picked up with a cargo bob. So if you have a cargo bob or a friend has one, definitely use it. It speeds up the supply mission tenfold. This mission is also one of the new missions from the Criminal Enterprises update. You'll have to reach a long fin at any location given to you, and then you're going to have to follow behind a plane after throwing a flare and pick up 3 different containers, and then bring it over to the drop point where the docks are, and then they'll give you the supplies. In this mission, you'll have to reach a location, go to a specific area where a bunch of gang members are, kill all the gang members that get in your way, and then pick up the supplies and bring it back to the bunker. In this mission, you'll be tasked by Agent 14 to destroy another organization's shipment of goods, and then he'll reveal the location of the supplies. In this mission, you're going to have to reach a cargo ship with your supplies on it. You can either sneak past all the enemies or kill them all, and then pick up the supplies once you find it and bring it back to the bunker. In this mission, you'll be tasked to go to a private yacht and steal all supplies on the yacht, and then bring it back to the bunker. In this mission, you'll be tasked to steal a rhino tank from the military and then bring it back to the bunker. You have two options to run this mission. You can either drive the tank back to the bunker, which will take a really long time, or you can just simply hitch the rhino tank underneath one of the nearby parked cargo bobs and fly it back to the bunker that way. Just do know, though, that if you pick the cargo bob, you'll be free target for all the enemies to shoot at you, and they will bring savages after you, but it won't shoot the cannons, thankfully. Then you just bring it back to the bunker. First, we're going to establish on how long it takes to actually fill the bunker with and without upgrades, and why you should not do this business at all without upgrades, because it simply takes too long. And then we're going to establish why you should be buying supplies, because again, it takes simply too long. First things first, the time required to be able to fill up a bunker with 50% staff and 100% staff. 50% staff is if you manage the staff and set it both to research and manufacturing. As you can see, with 50% staff without upgrades, it takes up to 33 hours and 20 minutes. And with 100% staff, it takes 16 hours and 40 minutes. And then with the equipment and staff upgrade in contrast, with 50% staff is 23 hours and 20 minutes, and with 100% staff, it takes only 11 hours and 40 minutes. So again, I have to establish the fact that you should not be doing this business at all if you're not going to grab the business upgrades at the first moment that you get in the bunker, because it simply takes way too long to actually fill this stuff, as I'll explain later on in the future charts. Secondly, we're going to establish the stock produced with a full bar of supplies with and without upgrades. 50% staff will create 5 crates. You'll need 20 resupplies with full bars to be able to get that. 10 crates will be granted with 100% staff. You'll need to refill the supply bar full 10 times. And then with equipment and staff, you'll get 10 crates, and you'll need 10 full resupplied bars. And then with 100% staff with all upgrades, you'll make 20 crates, and you'll only need 5 resupplies needed with full bars to be able to create a full bunker of product. Thirdly, we're going to establish how long it takes for all your staff to create a single crate of weapons. So with no upgrades, 50% staff, it'll take 20 minutes. With 100% staff, it'll take 10 minutes. And it'll be valued at $5,000 per one crate. And then with equipment and staff, it'll be 14 minutes with 50% staff, and then with only 7 minutes with 100% staff, and it'll be valued at $7,000. So again, definitely get the upgrades. And finally, we're going to be establishing why you should only be buying supplies and not doing the steal missions. The first reason is because doing steal missions is simply too long, and unlike the biker businesses where they're very simple, a lot of these missions have annoying enemies, And the second thing is that it's one singular business, and if you do this solo, you only have to buy supplies for it once. And as we already established, you only have to buy supplies 5 times for $75,000 each. And with the money Dune loader, as I'll show in a minute here, you can actually diminish the amount of money you'll actually spend by quite a significant margin. And if you actually do it every 48 minutes, you can actually only end up spending up to 125,000, as you can see at the end of the chart there. So it's definitely worth actually putting time into the Dune loader, so then that way you don't have to actually spend as much money on the supplies, and so that you don't have to do those annoying supply missions. Also, on the subject of running this business solo, as you saw on the chart, you only want to buy supplies of a full bar once, and then you want to immediately sail, because if you sail any more crates past 25 crates, you're going to get at least 2 vehicles or more. So I recommend only selling after the first batch of supplies is completely used up and turned into stock. Then that way you can do that completely solo. Do keep in mind though, breaking even, as I'll show later on in the sell value charts, it'll take much longer to break even, but it'll make your work a lot less and put a lot less stress on you. Real quick before we continue on to the sell missions showcase and show you how much money you're going to be making with a full bunker of supplies and so on, I'm going to quickly establish and showcase the Dune loader mission and then show you how to do it really easily. As you guys can see, this is the Dune loader truck that will load in the moment you do the setup for the bunker at the computer, and then every 40 in-game minutes you will be able to get a new truck, and then you'll be able to deliver it for $50,000 each. And then every time you do that, you're going to be getting back money that you've spent on supplies. So using this truck is extremely crucial to lessen the amount of money you're going to be spending, especially if you're planning on doing this with full bunkers a large portion of the time. Also, one quick tip for all people just starting this mission up: you can get a cargo bob and just simply lift it over to the ammunition that the map gives you. And also, it spawns a random ammunition that you have to deliver it to. The reason why I recommend you pick this up with the cargo bob is because you're going to get chased by enemies most of the time, but sometimes you don't. But it's simply not worth just driving over there and dying a bunch. So simply, if you have a cargo bob, go over to it, pick up the Dune loader, and then bring it over to the ammunition instead of driving it. It makes the mission 10 times faster, so then you can get back to doing what you were originally doing. Now we're going to be quickly showcasing the 6 different sell missions in the bunker, and then we're going to be checking out the amount of money you're going to be making each sell mission. The first sell mission that we're going to be showcasing is by far the worst for this business. The first one is the Merryweather 5-drop Insurgent mission. This mission requires you to go to each of the 5 drops and then drop the product, and then you're going to have to kill the enemies for each of the drops. Also, you can get 3 insurgents and you get 30 minutes in this mission, so while it is the longest, it is the most time consuming. So again, if you're doing this solo, do not do this mission solo on your own, because it will be simply too impossible to manage 3 insurgents, because that's the other thing. You cannot progress to the other drop until all of the insurgents have dropped their product at the first one, and then you have to kill the enemies and then drive them all to the next drop. Very time consuming if you're solo, and you probably won't even be able to finish the sell mission solo realistically at all. This next cell mission is the Insurgent Civi single drop mission. This mission, I believe you can only get when you have multiple people inside your organization. I have never been able to get this one solo. So basically, you just have to stay close to all the other Civi insurgents to keep a signal jammer, so then the enemies don't come after you. This is also helpful if you're selling in a public lobby, because then you won't actually appear on people's radar selling cargo. Then you just bring it to the drop. This next sale mission is by far the easiest. It is the heavy armored single drop insurgent mission. You'll at max get 3 insurgents that you have to drop at a single drop, and it's fairly simple. You can either get cops to chase you or enemies, or neither, and it's very simple, straightforward. You just bring it to the drop and that's pretty much it. One thing to note though, this only gives you 15 minutes on the mission, and still I do not recommend doing this one solo either, because depending on the location of your bunker, it will still make it extremely close or you won't be able to deliver all the insurgents at all. So keep this in mind. You'll notice a pattern with a lot of these cell missions. I'm going to be recommending a lot of them to not do solo if you're doing a full bunker sale mission. The next cell mission is the second easiest. This is the Phantom Wedge single drop mission. At max, you can get 2 Phantom Wedges with trailers on it, and this one's fairly straightforward. You will always get cops on this mission, but you don't really need to matter, because at the end of the day, when you get to the drop, you lose the cops anyways, so don't bother calling Lester. Just ram through all the opposition with the wedge and bring it to the drop. It's very simple, straightforward stuff. This is the only one, if you're doing a full bunker sale, that you could possibly pull off completely solo. But do keep in mind, a lot of the Phantom Wedge missions have far drop-offs, so depending on how far north your bunker is, once again, you need to consider, will you be able to deliver this? This next cell mission is the second worst cell mission in this business, the Dune FAV 5-drop cell mission. At max, I've seen this mission give me 4 Dune FAVs to manage at once, so this one is by far the most punishing for solo players, especially when you look at the bottom right of the screen. As you can see, it only gives you 15 minutes, so even if you're doing this with a full crew and you don't have 4 people to drive it, it can still be pretty close. So this one, you cannot do solo at all. You have to do this one with multiple players if you're doing this with a full bunker. If you're doing this with a solo-filled bunker, you're completely fine, because you're only going to get 1 Dune FAV, as I did. But if you're doing a full bunker, you're probably going to get at least 3 to 4 Dune FAVs, and with the amount of time that you have, you're simply not going to be able to complete the drops. And finally, the last cell mission, the Marshall Monster Truck 5-drop mission. This one is very straightforward. It gives you 3 trucks with a max bunker, and all you have to do is just simply go to a simple hill or mountain range area, climb up the mountain to get to the drops with the monster truck, and then head to the next one. You will have enemy helicopters attacking you, but honestly, if you start getting close to death, just use your snacks and just re-health yourself. Then that way you don't have to waste your time shooting the enemies, and just quickly succession go in a straight line as much as possible through the mountains to get to each drop very significantly. And now finally we're going to be establishing the amount of money that you can make with the local and far sale with a fully upgraded bunker with full product. As you can see here, you make $700,000 with the local sale, and with the far sale you make basically $1 million. And the amount of cells you're going to need to break even with a full bunker, keep in mind, is 6 to 7 missions, because as you can see with the amount earned to break even is $7 million roughly. And you'll profit around either $860,000 or $251,000. The only thing that this chart did not equate for was the solo, but that's because I completely forgot about this, but I actually know the cell mission values for solo right now. So the local sale is 140 with full upgrades, and with far sale with full upgrades it's $210,000. And I calculated the amount of cells you're going to need to reach that 7 million once again. This is probably going to be around 33 or 34 cell missions, so you're going to have to sell a bunker 33 or 34 times, and then you should get the same amount of profit and the same amount of money to break even. So regardless, this is going to take you a very long time to break even with this business. So don't expect overnight that you're just going to magically get this all done like with bikers. Another thing that this chart did not cover is the 2% dividend on each player in the lobby if you make the sale in a public session. So if you want to actually equate 2% for each player in your lobby on top of the sale, go for it. But it's extremely risky and you risk having all your product blown up. So it's up to you. This is also the reason why I did not include research or the purchase of the mobile operations center or anything like that, because that $7 million could have easily turned into at least $20 million or even $30 million depending on how much we spend. So again, that is why you should focus on actually breaking even with the actual business first before investing anything optional from this business like research or the mobile operations center, because if you actually do spend that money, your amount of expenses is going to be astronomical, and the amount of cells that you're going to have to make to break even with just the business is going to be ludicrous. So again, I don't know how much I have to emphasize this. Break even with the business first. Focus on research and the mobile operations center last. You'll thank me in the long run. But anyways, guys, that's going to be it for the video on is the bunker worth it in 2023. What did you guys think? Leave me a like, subscribe, hit the bell icon, and also remember to check my other GT Online guides on other types of businesses and so much more. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye, guys.